Hello, hello,
Surviving.
everybody.
Closure at the end and the closure at the I don't know.
Good to
So
see
this
everybody. Happy
nice
Giving
book.
Tuesday. Everybody is jumping on. I know you all
Welcome, welcome.
can
Please be
see
sure
us.
to mute yourself if you can. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Awesome. Welcome, welcome. You all, this is presentation mode, so cameras are off. So hopefully you can still enjoy a late lunch.
Our time together today is going to be pretty easy going. So relax so we can give you all some updates. Say thank you to all of you who are invested in our mission, whether you're a donor, a foundation funder, or someone that just helps amplify the mission. We appreciate you so much and thought no better way than to take Giving Tuesday as an opportunity to do so, in addition to provide some great updates, which we'll say all of this again in a minute. But wanted to give that color to the intro as you all jump on. You certainly can take the time in the chat to say hello and introduce who you are and where you're from so that others can know who's present. That would be amazing. I know we have a mixture of students today. Shout out to all of our incredible students that are on. We have donors that are on. Shout out to all of you. Thank you so much for your support. Some partners that are on, institutional partners and organizational partners that are on as well. Shout out to all of you and especially our strategic alliances. So grateful for our collaborative work together. A few LB team members are on as well. Shout out to the team. Some board folk are coming on. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving with family, time to reflect and love on each other. And I know everyone's gearing up for the upcoming holidays. And so good vibes and good spirits all around.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Awesome, Jonathan. You want to get started as people continue to come in?
Yes, yes. And again, for those who are jumping on now and might have missed some of the remarks shared just a minute ago or a few seconds ago, I'm Jonathan Allen, co-founder and director of development at Leadership Brainery.
Yes, indeed. Hello, everybody. I'm Derrick Young Jr., co-founder and executive director. As Jonathan mentioned, we're so grateful that you're spending this Tuesday afternoon with us. We know it's Giving Tuesday. Emails are flooded, events are plentiful. So thank you so much for taking this time. It's going to be really quick, you all, for this webinar. We really want to update you all on our 7-year impact report and also our 3-year strategic plan. Many of you who are supporters may have received a copy in the mail, others via email, and then it's also accessible on our website. So please go take a look. And so, as me and Jonathan talk about our 3-year strategic plan, we want you all to start thinking about questions that you may have because we will have an opportunity towards the end of the webinar for folks to ask questions, and we want you all to ask questions. And so please get them ready. All right, so let's jump straight in. And while we get that going, awesome, awesome. All right, so we have several of our Leadership Brainery team members here with us today as well. You won't be hearing from them directly, but you are definitely hearing from them through the work of this impact report and through the work of our strategic plan. So thank you so much, team, for all the hard work that you all have put in. We've been working, you all, on this plan for roughly 2.5 years. And so we're really excited to introduce it to our community. And so our 7th year impact report, I need a bell here at Leadership Burner. Here we go. We got our bell because we made it to 7 years, which is absolutely phenomenal. Many folks who know about nonprofits know that it is really hard to sustain for 7 years, but it's also extremely difficult to scale. And we've been able to do both, especially thanks to our amazing community. And my phone is ringing behind me, so I hope you all don't hear it. But we're just going to keep it going. And so in our 7 year impact report, you'll find a few things. We wanted to make sure that we can share some alumni stories with you all, but then also share some research. And so you'll see a number of different research graphs and data points about the importance of graduate school, around income and debt ratios, around the demand. The upcoming demand for master's and doctoral degrees as our workforce continues to evolve, especially as STEM become more heavily a necessity in our workforce and all of our day-to-day lives. And so please check out the data. If you have any questions about it, please ask. We have a new team member at Leadership Brainery. I say he's new, but Josh has been with us now for about 8 months. And Josh has compiled all of this amazing data, which you all know, many may know, it's extremely difficult to find data on graduate school and graduate school outcomes. And so we've been working really hard to be a front runner in making sure that data is more accessible on advanced education. And so please check out the report. We're going to put a link to it in the chat so you all can scroll through and maybe you can prepare your questions as we go through. All right, so we'll go to the next slide here and I'll pass over to Jonathan.
All right, amazing. And we are so grateful for the growing support that has been generated over these last 7 years for Leadership Brainery and to sustain this important work. And it is Giving Tuesday, and we were brainstorming what we would do this year as opposed to doing a lot of fundraising on today, as most organizations are doing, and it is needed. But we wanted to also think about how can we kind of flip this day on its head. Want to acknowledge and share gratitude to our supporters for the sustained investment in this work, but also to bring the community together and really reflect on the impact of Leadership Brainery over these last 7 years and provide you all with some important updates. One of them is really over these last 7 years, Leadership Brainery has been able to continue to sustain increased support from year to year, as you can see in this timeline here. And to all of our individual donors, you should have already received in the mail the copy of the 7 year impact report, which has some of this information there as well as some other insights as Derrick mentioned. So please take a look, scan that QR code, which would take you to more information as well. But wanted to really celebrate this milestone from a fundraising perspective, which all of you know my full-time role and capacity at the organization is leading our development efforts, our fundraising efforts, and cultivation of our supporter community. And so this is what I'm thinking about constantly and get to really keep a pulse around. And so thank you to everyone who's continued to make this possible. And even as we move into the next fiscal year in 2026 and beyond, our growth is upon us. We're at an inflection point, and we have to continue to not only meet the demand where we are, but to continue to meet the growing demand of our work. And certainly there are ways that you can continue to support the work. And here are some ways in which that you can help push the work forward, whether that's making a donation to ensure we reach our fiscal year 26 fundraising goal of $2 million. Our fiscal year, for clarity and context, is July 1st to June 30th. So June 30th, 2026 will conclude the FY26 fiscal year. So that means we're halfway there and we need more support. And thank you to all of our supporters who've already made your gift for the current fiscal year, and certainly ahead of our December 31st end of year deadline as well. I see a few of you who are on that we're so grateful for your continued support. But also think about multi-year support that you can provide, thinking about increasing Leadership Brainery on your list of priorities of organizations that you support. We have a number of monthly donors who give recurring that we thank and we appreciate and encourage more people to consider your capacity to be a part of that group of people who support the work. But ultimately, help spread the word to people in your network who you believe should be activated around Leadership Brainery and invested in this work. We really, really need to continue increasing the number of individuals that support Leadership Brainery. Right now, we're at about a 60% mark of our support coming from individual donors. And that is amazing, you all. And it really is a testament to why Leadership Brainery continues to sustain and do this work, even as we are experiencing countless and numerous institutional funding rollbacks and cutbacks, not only at Leadership Brainery, but across so many other organizations. We're in a very dire time. So we need our individual donor and certainly our foundation funders as well to continue to step up to fill those gaps and those needs. But you can take a look at those other bullets there, including the opportunity for employers to match your giving. So if you've made a donation or are about to make a donation, don't forget that if you have an employer who matches gifts, encourage them to consider matching your donation to Leadership Brainery this year. Much love, continued support. Reach out if you have any leads, people, or institutions in your network who you think need to be invested in LB. We'd love to have a conversation and figure out how we can work together to increase support for LB. All right. Much love.
Awesome, awesome, wonderful, Jonathan. Thank you so much. So Jonathan and our entire development team makes fundraising seem easy, but I'll tell you all, it is not easy at all. It's extremely difficult. So kudos to them for keeping us going and keeping us strong, especially in this time where we feel, in many organizations like Leadership Brainery, feel like we're under attack. And so I'm really excited to share our strategic plan because I do feel like it sets us up for success in this new climate that we're experiencing. Many folks know that currently higher education has been in the news significantly over the last year with federal attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion, but then also on a lot of financial aid and other admissions work. And so we have lost partnerships with many universities. Unfortunately, we lost some funding from some of our corporate partners and foundations because we are seeing rollback of support of organizations who are supporting underrepresented communities and communities of color. And so our strategic plan, we do feel like sets us up for success in this climate. And so this is what you all have been waiting on. So let's get started on that. We will be leveraging our North Star over the next 3 years as we implement this plan. And our new North Star at Leadership Brainery is right here on the screen. So we believe that all communities deserve and have the right to equal opportunities to create and use generational prosperity for themselves, their families, and society. And graduate education and thriving careers are a primary gateway to achieving this reality. This is extremely, extremely important, you all. Leadership Brainery is not about solely getting into graduate school. Leadership Brainery is about creating generational prosperity across many different communities, in all communities, when it comes to education access, when it comes to high income earning jobs. That's what our communities need to be able to sustain in this climate where things are becoming more and more expensive every day. AI is moving extremely fast a lot of people say won't replace jobs, but unfortunately it will replace jobs. And we need to ensure that we are setting up a workforce that can still thrive in this climate and be the ones that's building the technology and overseeing the technology. And so that's what we're setting up here at Leadership Brainery. And so we are focusing on two pillars with our strategic plan. I'm not going to go into what Leadership Brainery has been doing the past 7 years, but many of you all already know, but I want you to really hone in on these two pillars that we'll be focused on. Many of you all may know our ambassador program. Our ambassador program, we have gone through 4 cohorts where we select a competitive group of students who have gone through almost a 2-year process now, almost a 2-year process to ensure that they are prepared for competitive graduate schools. And so they get free admissions coaching, test preparation, personal professional leadership development, and then also a $10,000 transitional grant as they go into graduate school. We have seen great success in this program as it's been our most high touch program. And so we have students currently at a few schools listed here on the screen: Columbia, Boston University, Quinnipiac, many schools at Harvard, Johns Hopkins, even international, KU11. Uh, we have UCLA, one of our ambassadors from our second cohort just got a full ride, UCLA Law School, UPenn, Cornell. Our students are doing incredible things around the country currently in their graduate programs, but some who have already graduated. And we've learned so much from our 73 alum who have already gone through this program. And we made sure that we listen to their voices and their feedback as we were developing this newly evolved model. And so we'll go to the next slide. And I really want to hone in on this first pillar before I mention the second pillar. So our first pillar is to focus on our core to serve more. Our core at Leadership Brainery is our ambassador program. While we've had great success and we really enjoy the other programs that we've had, we see our greatest outcomes here, and we know that it's great to have one-off engagements and students receive a lot of empowerment and support through those one-off engagements, but it is that long-term and comprehensive development that's really going to ensure that we not only set our students up to be admitted into graduate programs, but also ensuring that they thrive once they get into these programs, because we know that dropout rates are significant when it comes to graduate school, and unfortunately when it comes to many of the communities that we do serve. And so we are strengthening our ambassador program, and we are serving more students in our ambassador program. So over the next 3 years, our goal, currently we admit about 25 students to our ambassador program every single year. Our goal is to serve 50 students annually in our ambassador program. And so we're not going to start with 50 because we want to scale and we want to do this right. And so we're going to start with 35. And by year 3 of our strategic plan, we will be at 50. One of the amazing pieces that we're really excited about with our ambassador program is that over the past 3 cohorts, we have had a local cohort model where all of the students are coming from schools in the Boston area. We're expanding that, and we're really excited. 2 ways that we're doing that: we are admitting more HBCU students who are attending historically Black colleges and universities around the country, as we do not have those here in Massachusetts or New England. And so I'll share a little bit more about how we've already started to cultivate our HBCU community to ensure that they are represented here at Leadership Brainery in our most high touch program. But then also, many of you all may have heard of our strategic alliances. For the past 3 years, we have been partnering with over 20 organizations that focus on K through 12 and college access. And so we go in and we talk to middle schoolers and high schoolers about graduate school, sometimes even elementary school students who say, I want to be an astronaut. And we tell them, do you know to be an astronaut that you need a PhD? And they're like, what the heck is a PhD? And so this has been giving us the opportunity to really ensure that we're creating a sustainable long-term pipeline all the way from K through 12 to the highest levels of education, because it starts early, and we cannot introduce our talent to graduate school once they get into college. We have to do it much early on. And so we will be leveraging our strategic alliances, many that are based here in Massachusetts, but because they're based here in Massachusetts, many of the students who may still go through those high school programs and college prep programs still go to schools outside of Massachusetts. And we want those students to be able to benefit from our program, especially since we are benefiting from being in their backyard here in Boston. And then we also want to ensure that HBCU students, as I mentioned, can join this program. And so we'll have a mix of our strategic alliance, our HBCU programs, of course, and then the talent that hears about us who apply to the program. And I'll go over the application eligibilities in a second. But this is how we're strengthening our program. And so there's a 5-pillar model that we've built. And of course, like I mentioned, this is through interviews with our past students, with our programs team, really ensuring that we have a strong program. And so it starts with our graduate school summit, which we just had our 7th one. And so these students will be flown to Boston for a 3-day intensive summit where they will strengthen their interest around graduate school in their different industries and also their connections with their cohort to make sure they have the accountability as they prepare for graduate school. And so the outcome of that first pillar is to really ensure that we are providing more clarity around the graduate school admissions process, expanding their network, and expanding their confidence and their sense of somebodyness, as we say here at Leadership Brainery. The second is our strategic research and pathway selection. So that first month really focus on that introductory and orientation, building those strong relationships. And then it goes into research and pathway selections. Oftentimes people may be a little unclear around what path they want to go down or what standardized test they want to take or what career they actually want because I can go to law school or business school or med school. There are many careers that I can attain after getting that degree, and it really helps if you have some sense of clarity before you go in to make sure that you are setting yourself up for success. And so we are doing that research and pathway selection for around 2 months so students can know what test I want to take when it comes to the LSAT, the GRE, the MCAT, the DAT, so forth. And so then after they identify their pathway, in January. Some may start a little bit early if they're going to med school or so forth or dental school. Then they get their standardized test prep. And so we partner with some of the top test prep providers in the country. Last year, they gave our ambassadors over 100 hours of test preparation with individual test prep and group test prep. And so and of course, that explains why our students are doing so great. We're seeing significant increases in their standardized testing scores. And while we know that many schools, when COVID happened, got rid of standardized tests, many of them are starting to come back for most graduate programs. And so our students will spend 4 to 6 months virtually doing their test prep, of course, still having office hours with our team as they're preparing their applications. And then we will at the in May and June, after they finish their test prep, we'll bring this cohort of students back to Boston, and they will spend 2 weeks with us. And this is all around application preparation. So they're drafting all of their statements, they're drafting their emails, their letters of recommenders, excuse me. And they're doing a lot of other things to make sure that they leave that 2 weeks with a comprehensive application. So then 2 months later, when applications open in September, they're ready to apply. And the reason why we introduced this 2-week intensive is not only to make sure that we are building those strong connections and making sure these students who are building together and then going to grad school in all different industries build an amazing network. But we listen to our students when they say, hey, I'm trying to finish undergrad. I have finals. I'm studying abroad. I have internships. It's really difficult for me to complete my applications in this time. And so we wanted to give them a time to break away after their semester to say, hey, I can focus solely for this 2 weeks on making sure that I have the strongest application possible. And now for the last component that we're really excited about, our 73 alum that have went, while they stay in touch with us, we still support them when they reach out. We haven't had much structure around our alumni support. And so we're really excited now that when our students get accepted into graduate school, they'll still be able to access office hours with our programs team. They will have access to that $10,000 transitional grant as they move around the country or need technology or need housing and food support. And then they'll be able to stay in contact and also then pour back into the next cohort of ambassadors. And so we're really excited about this 5-phase curriculum. Shout out to our programs team for working so hard on it. And then I'm gonna just go to the next slide a bit to talk about our eligibility requirements. Awesome, thank you. And so our eligibility requirements, I named a few, and some things are changing from our previous application, but many know that if you're not on mute, could you please mute yourself? We greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. And so many know that this is a competitive program. Over the last 4 years, we've gotten acceptance to about 17%. And while we do not want to exclude anybody from this opportunity, which is why we have our second pillar, and I'll explain in a moment, we know that going to graduate school is a hot commodity right now, and so many people want that. And that's why, as Jonathan mentioned, we need more support so we can continue to raise this number. I mean, eventually have many students in our ambassador program and our high touch programs. For in the meantime, our eligibility requirements are as follows. And so you have to be ready to apply to graduate school fall 2027. And so in the past, you've had to be a rising junior to be eligible for the fellowship, but not anymore. You only have to be preparing to apply, submit your applications in fall 2027. Of course, you have to identify as someone who may be the first in their family to pursue graduate school, coming from a low income background or under resourced community. Our minimum GPA is a 3.0. Our average GPA for our ambassadors every year is around a 3.6. And so, while there is a minimum, still apply if that is your GPA, but just know that our average is about a 3.6. But GPA is not the only factor that we're looking at. We're definitely looking at a holistic application, especially your leadership, which is next. Demonstrated leadership. We are leadership Brainery. And so we are looking for those young leaders who do want to change their communities, want to change our society, who have a equitable outlook on what our world should be like. And so then helping them get into graduate school and careers so that they can make that change for themselves, but then also their communities. And so we will be looking for that leadership in your statements, but then also in your interviews. You have to be between the ages 18 and 24. This is really exciting too. So you could be a recent graduate and still be a part of the Ambassador Fellowship. And then we have a change with our students who can apply, being either a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. And then, of course, you have to uphold the values of leadership, Brainery. And so those are our eligibility requirements. If you have questions, we'll open up in a moment. And then, of course, with our timeline, applications open up in April. You'll be able to see all of this on the website. Orientation in October, the 2-week intensive May, June 2027, and then so forth that you see there. And so please be on the lookout for information. For those who are not prospective students on this call, please spread the word. We'll be sending out emails with links and so forth early in the new year, and we need help spreading the word around the country since we have not had a national cohort in a number of years. All right. And we are going to now go over to our second strategic pillar, and I'm going to pass it over to Jonathan.
Awesome. And for clarity, Derrick, you mentioned the website. When should people expect to see these updates on the website?
In January.
All right. And to reinforce something that Derrick mentioned, because I know you're going to ask. So to reemphasize with strategic pillar number 1, the Graduate School Summit is a part of the Ambassador Fellowship exclusively moving forward. So students, don't come reaching out, talking about when applications for the Graduate School Summit are going to open and when can you apply. The GSS is now officially a primary part of the Ambassador Fellowship, and those who are eligible for the Ambassador Fellowship should apply to it accordingly and would be the ones that get access to that opportunity. Just want to make that clear for everybody. And moving on to strategic pillar number 2, which is share what we know. We talked about honing in on our core, which is the Ambassador Fellowship, and where we get to make the most high quality impact through that program. We also understand that there's a continued need to make sure that the populace, the public, has information and awareness around our work so we can continue to mobilize the masses while also making sure that students who are thinking about graduate school can continue to benefit from leadership training to some extent, especially since the Ambassador Fellowship will be the only program that students can apply to. And so therefore, our website in 2026 will experience a revamp and have additional resources on it that are open access for students to be able to download and take advantage of around graduate school admissions. In addition to some technology upgrades that we'll see leveraging AI, so that students can be able to interact with it for additional resources and support as you're thinking about graduate school. So that is a resource that we'll update you all on, and that you'll be able to flood and push out to the masses and encourage so many people to take advantage of. But you'll also continue to see thought leadership. And I saw Steve mention and shout out the recent article in Inside Higher Ed. What's up, Steve? And everyone should check it out. Again, thank you to Josh on our team leading that work. And it was an incredible article, really thinking about some of the ways that states can step up to really ensure access, certainly financially, to graduate education. So take a look at that. There's more like that on the way. A series of thought leadership conversations and webinars are going to be launched in 2026 to really continue to dig deeper into the data and the trends, but also the resources that can be mobilized and the incredible institutions and organizations who are doing what we can to step up and make sure that underrepresented communities have access to the highest levels of education. And so we're equipping students, we're influencing perceptions, we're influencing policies even, as well as practices around access to graduate education. So stay on board. There's some great things that we've launched, even through Forbes articles, which there's a GR code that's at the bottom of the screen. But Dana, somebody from the team, go ahead and let's make sure we drop in the link to the Forbes articles as well, so that everyone can take a look at that if you haven't already. Stay on board, keep sharing our thought leadership and these resources as well, so we continue to make sure we build more awareness around this work, because it's needed, and there are not many organizations at all that are doing what we're doing at Leadership Brainery. And in fact, Leadership Brainery is one of the only organizations in the nation that is focused on access to graduate education from an interdisciplinary perspective, meaning we're not limited to one industry or one discipline, but we understand the value of multidisciplinary and multi-generational collaboration and pathway generation. So that is our strategic pillar number 2, which is going to continue to allow us to reach even more people around our work as well. Derrick, you had something to add there?
Yeah, thank you so much, Jonathan. I just wanted to really hone in really quickly on the policy, so influence and policy. So our policy and research specialist, Josh, is actually headed to DC tomorrow. We're really excited about that. And so Leadership Brainery is getting much more involved in ensuring that we can influence some of these policies that are affecting our communities currently, from the new loan caps on many graduate programs to the admissions restrictions that many universities are struggling with right now when it comes to admitting and appreciating the diversity of the talent that we serve in the admissions process. And so typically in all of our articles, our Forbes articles, our articles inside higher ed, you will also see ways that you can be activated and involved. And so beyond supporting us from donations and being a part of the program, you'll see ways that you can help encourage your state representatives and your federal representatives to push more funding for graduate school and Pell Grants for graduate school, to increase those loan caps, to prevent us, our federal government, currently trying to privatize the entire loan process for higher education, which can lead to incredible interest rates, and then also a lot of folks not being able to access funding for their higher education. And so many ways that you all can be involved in Leadership Brainery through this new pillar that we have adopted. And so please make sure that you're reading our articles so you can get that information on how you can be involved there as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Derrick. And thank you, Dana, and who's our development manager, and Katisha Rawls as well, our chief of staff. Thank y'all for holding the chat down and getting these resources in for everybody.
Awesome.
All right, questions. Want to take some time to open up the floor for dialogue, questions from you all. You can raise your hand to unmute, and we'll call on you so that you can ask your question live. Or if it's better for you, you can drop your question into the chat and we can respond via the chat as well, or by calling them out from the chat as well. So let's do it. Who got questions? Reflections? What do you need us to expound upon, give greater clarity to?
Awesome.
Got a
All right.
hand
So
raised. Alex, good to see you. Just unmuted you.
Hey, good afternoon. Thank you all so much for this. My name is Alex Bonanno. I work for the Boston Public Health Commission in the Office of Racial Equity and Community Engagement. Professionally, and then outside of work, I work for, or I work with Brothers in Public Health. We're a 501(c)(3) nonprofit organization. National organization, we just opened up our Greater Boston chapter, which I serve as its lead. And so, in just reflecting on this and thinking of all of the great work that you're doing, I can't help but question how we can get involved in supporting you, particularly Brothers in Public Health, especially as we think about the recent news from the federal government around like which degrees are considered professional or not, and just like our own overall mission of like wanting to increase more men of color in public health and the health sciences in general. I feel like that there's great synergy here. So I guess to wrap that up, my question would be like, what would a potential pathway look and feel like for you all, and maybe other people on this call who represent other organizations that might want to get involved, especially with the GSS.
awesome. Thank you so much for the question, Alex, and for all the work that you're doing. There will be many opportunities for you all and other organizations and other leaders to get involved. And so I'm going to ask Made, if you can put your contact in the chat, that'd be wonderful. So Made is our director of programs, and over the next 5 months, we will be reaching out to different folks around getting involved in our 3-day intensive and also our 2-week intensive because not only do we need speakers, but we need volunteers and we need folks to come expose their different industries to our talent, especially when it comes to, public health. Alex, my background is in public health, and that
Awesome.
was one of the reasons why we started Leadership Brainery, because when I was getting my master's in public health, I was the only Black man in my program at Tufts School of
Same.
Medicine.
I went to Tufts as well.
Oh, that's awesome. What's the
All
jumbo?
right, so we got to connect.
Yeah, we got to connect. Wonderful. I love that. And it's unfortunate that we were both the only men of color in our program at Tufts, and so we got to hold institutions like Tufts accountable and make sure that our students do see us and see the work that we're doing. I used to work at the Boston Public Health Commission as well, and so we would love for you to get involved. So Made dropped her information there, and we will reach out to see how we can get involved with the organization.
Awesome. Sounds
Thank you
good.
so much,
Thank
Alex.
you.
Awesome. Let's go to Ocean and then Derrick. Take a look at Diana's question in the chat so we can respond to that as well.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and meet with us today. My name is Ocean Galamo. I'm a sophomore political science major from Howard University. And my question to you is, how do we get more people involved in Leadership Brainery, especially college students, as this is like our target demographic? I think that Leadership Brainery is an amazing company and it should be shared like nationwide, even internationally. So how can we get more college students involved is my question. Thank you.
Good question and good to see you. And I think the first of the clearest answer is to spread the word, right? Making sure that those other organizations and student leaders that are on campus that you're connected with, being intentional about spreading the word. But once we release applications for the Ambassador Fellowship, it'll be accompanied with new materials, refreshed materials that can be disseminated as well. And certainly Made's information is in the chat as well. So if you want to reach out to someone on the team to talk a little bit more about how we can make sure that folks in your community have the appropriate resources for you to help disseminate. We can totally make sure you get that as well. But short and simple, make sure that you're following Leadership right on all the socials and you're reposting everything that we post and always constantly thinking about who could be a potential recipient or beneficiary of the support that we provide at Leadership Brainery is the first take on the answer. But Derrick, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I would say so. We're actually posting a video of your reflection of the summit soon. So definitely when we post that video, please share it out. You did an incredible job at the summit. And then also, I would say to Jonathan's point, just tell everybody about it. Once our applications open, we do have some really innovative ways that we're not going to share yet around how we get more HBCU students involved. So you'll be hearing about that shortly over the next month or so. And so we would definitely love to leverage you as a way to get more folks, especially at Howard, but other HBCUs and other schools more involved. So thank you for thinking about that. That is the reason why we call our ambassador program an ambassador program, because we do want our students to spread the word around the importance of graduate school, the different resources that Leadership Brainery do offer, and also just be an ambassador for graduate school in general, because it's not the conversation that we typically have around the dinner table. And when you look at the data, it needs to become that conversation. And so we appreciate you so much, and we'll be reaching out to you soon.
Yes, yes. Okay, Derrick, you want to respond to Diana as well
Yes.
before we call on Catherine?
Yes. So the summit will be strictly for our ambassadors in the cohort. So those 35 in our alum, and so also the 75 students who have went through our program already. And it'll continue to grow from there. We will continue to reflect on other engagement opportunities, as Jonathan shared with our Share What We Know. Students who are not a part of our ambassador program will have plenty of resources for them to be able to engage and still get support without having to go through our traditional processes of applying for a program. If they need support, they're just going to be able to come to Leadership Brainery and get that support and engage with our resources on our website. And so, we are making Leadership Brainery more accessible in that way to many more students, regardless of your background, your GPA, your interview. And so we're really excited about that, but then also honing in on our ambassador program with the summit. And so you will get that information about that change. But yes, the summit will be limited to the ambassadors. So thank you. All right, Catherine. Hey, Catherine. Catherine is our board chair here at Leadership Brainery. Hey, Catherine.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say thank you for being here. It continues to be exciting to hear the level of growth and scale, and that Leadership Brainery is always being responsive to the moment and looking ahead at the same time. And that's, I think, what continues to give me hope, being both in the K-12 and higher ed space, that so much of the messaging coming out is that we don't matter, that we don't belong here. And what Leadership Brainery continues to do is stand up in the leadership realm and say, no, actually, we are going to continue to show up. And what I am continue to be impressed by with all of you, Derrick, Jonathan, the entire staff, is that what we call steady growth, right? That you have continued year after year to grow into yourselves, into listening to the ambassadors, listening to stakeholders in terms of what our needs are, and you're being responsive both in the moment and long term. You also are coming at it from a place of collective strength, that we are better together, that the world wants to pull us apart, and actually what it's doing, in fact, is pulling us closer together. And I continue to value each of you for that. And the other is that this is a place of liberatory hope, that the curriculum that Medei and all of you are working on has a liberatory pedagogy to it. It is not about dephasizing our young people. It's not saying that you should not apply, that again, the discouragement is out there, but we've been here before, and we need to continue to remember that we will rise above it, and we are rising above it. So my reflection is kudos to all of you. I'm so excited to have you here. I'm thrilled to hear that people want to get more involved. That is awesome. That is what continues to draw me to Leadership Brainery day after day after day. I've been here since the inception of the first GSS, and I'm not going anywhere. So thank you all. Aloha kako and mahalo.
Hey.
Awesome. We love you, Catherine. We're not letting you go anywhere, Catherine.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Nowhere at all. We appreciate you so much.
Wonderful. All right. So do we have any more questions before we go into our closing slide?
And again, for those who jumped on late, thank you. Happy Giving Tuesday to everybody. Thank you again for all of your steadfast support over the years. We have a group of everybody, from donors to students to institutional partners, strategic alliances, board members, team members present today. And so just want to really take this moment again to thank you all, because at the end of the day, we could not do this work without each and every one of you doing your part, playing your role, helping amplify the mission, benefiting it and benefiting from it. Thank you so much for everybody who's a part of this movement that Leadership Brainery has been building. And to have reached 7 years, on our way to year 8, 7 is the number of completion. 8 is the number of new beginning. We are moving into 2026 with expanded determination and hope and expectations for what's to come. And so proud of all of our incredible students who have matriculated into and through graduate school, to those that are on their way. We're so proud of each and every one of you and looking forward to keep making this impact together as we move forward. And so grateful for all of the supporters who've invested, whether you're a foundation, a corporate sponsor, or as we know at Leadership Brainery, a part of the significant network of individual donors who help make this work possible. Much love and appreciation.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. All right, we're going to go to our closing slide here. And so a few ways for you all to still get involved. And so we have a few QR codes here. Scan it with your phone if you feel moved. And so as Jonathan mentioned, it's Giving Tuesday. Please scan that QR code if you want to support us in that way, or if you want to send the code to somebody else who you think will be wonderful to get involved in our mission.
Which I think is an important thing, Derrick, that especially our students that are on here, we talk all the time about the importance of developing your giving muscles, building your giving muscles. You don't wait until you're a millionaire or you feel like you're wealthy to give back. You start doing that early, so you cultivate that sense of philanthropy soon enough. That way it becomes more second nature. So encouraging each of you to think about as you continue to grow and go along about your own capacity to make a contribution and whatever amount makes sense to chip in to keep moving this thing forward, but also thinking about as you're encountering various professionals and mentors and professors to encourage and spread the word about our work to them as well, because they can for sure be the potential supporters that help continue to make this thing possible. So definitely think about people in your network who you think should know about the work and spread it. Send that link to them and encourage them to make a donation. We're also announcing a new activation today around another way in which our supporters can get involved beyond monetary support and beyond making a donation. And so we're getting creative. And one of the things that donors and supporters always ask is, how can I volunteer? How can I get involved? How can I give back through information and wisdom? And so we have an opportunity for you, and that is to help us write incredible notes to our students as they prepare to roll off or graduate out of the Ambassador Fellowship. Cohort 4 will be doing so in May. And when we get to that point, we want to be able to provide them a yearbook, a LB yearbook, so to speak, that's filled with not only recaps and highlights, but also notes of motivation and encouragement and wisdom from our supporters. And so scan that QR code and be one of the first to get a note in for our incredible students, and spread the word to other leaders who and supporters who would be very interested in doing the same.
Awesome. All right. And then lastly, as you all know, this was about our 7th year impact report and also our strategic plan. You can scan that to get you a digital copy. If you would like a physical copy, reach out to us and we will also mail you one so that you can have this amazing piece of history of Leadership Brainery's 7th year with you. And so please scan that, share it on LinkedIn, share it on social media, on all your other social medias. We need folks to hear about the impact that we're making, regardless of all the negative news that we are experiencing around higher education and graduate school. There are great positive things happening. Many of them are happening right here at Leadership Brainery. So please spread that word. And I believe that is all we have for you all today. And so thank you so much again for taking the time. If you have additional questions, please reach out to us and we will get back to you. But again, thank you for your support. Thank you for being a part of the Leadership Brainery community. And we're looking forward to 7 more years of impact.
Oh, yeah, so much to come. And y'all see Dana listed a few of these resources in the chat. It's like one of the most recent comments there. Go copy and paste that into a document so you can get all those links and have all that information to pass along. Much love. Happy Giving Tuesday again. Thank you, everybody. And keep making it happen. Happy holidays to you and all of your families.
Awesome. Happy holidays.